Welcome to Surviving Ish, the podcast for anyone who feels like they're winning at life, sometimes just by technicality. I am here with a great friend of mine. She started following me when the Surviving Abuse podcast first came out. We connected. She's been on all of my platforms. Ashely, I'm so excited that you're a part of this brand new podcast with me. How are you, my love?
I am so incredibly grateful to be a part of this new podcast, and I'm doing well.
Good. Because, Ashley, I would love your thoughts on this. So many people in my life, especially if they're not constant in my life, like when I see friends or family, like around holidays, I think where they don't see me every day, they don't always notice the progression that I've made and the success that I've had in healing. And so I think that sometimes I still look like as a victim. And so sometimes they don't know to laugh at my jokes, to joke back because they're afraid of triggering me or offending me. And my goal with this podcast is to show that we are not defined by our trauma. We still have our everyday struggles, but we have also our everyday highs, And so I just wanted a platform where we are going to talk about some real shit sometimes, but I want the
Absolutely.
focus to be on that we are still alive. We can still thrive. We can still sometimes it is just a ish in surviving, and that's okay.
Oh, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
But
So
the thing with victim is like I've never once, even though I've been through horrific trauma, I really think victim is such a negative word. I want to look at myself as I survived, I overcame. Like, I think we need to start talking more positive language to survivors of trauma versus, oh, like, there goes the poor victim. Like, that just deflates somebody, right? We want to build these people up after trauma.
absolutely. And you and I have had this conversation before with the word victim. Like I was a victim of something. That the night that he was in my house doing that to me, I was a victim of that. But that does not define me.
No, no,
But I
not at
still would
all.
sometimes have issues with the word surviving, because to me, it made me feel like I was supposed to be surviving and thriving, and then thriving almost became a trigger word to me. It's like, why am I always having to live up to other people's expectations of the definition that they use for those words? Because it can be different for everyone.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. It's going to be different for everybody and their trauma, their support, everything that they're going through, everything that they have. It's going to be a whole different experience. But I think like vocabulary and how we talk to individuals that are going through trauma mean everything because we also don't want to degrade them, right? We want to try to build these people up because their confidence, their self-worth, their self-esteem has been diminished through their trauma. And I think in order to help people, like first you need to help yourself, but you also need positive inspiration around you. You don't need like judgment or people talking down to you, right? Like you're some poor person or lost soul, right? Like you already feel enough helplessness and despair in yourself. So it's really important that we watch what we kind of say to people that are surviving and going through it.
Absolutely. I try to listen to the words that the survivor or victim, whatever word that they're using, whatever title they assign to it. I try to listen very closely to them and use the words they're using. Like when someone's talking to me, I have had people say, when I say, well, I was a victim of a hate crime, they say, no, 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 you're a survivor of a hate crime. Don't tell me what I am. I was a victim of a hate crime. I chose to be on a journey to survive and hopefully get to a thrive. And sometimes I do thrive, So
Oh,
listen,
absolutely.
yeah, listen to the words that I'm using and use those words with me. Now, when they're talking to you or anyone else, you might use the same words, but in a different relation toward you and how you identify with it. And I think that's okay.
I agree completely.
So, with that being said, I'm very anxious to hear what your ish is. What are you surviving ish right now in your life?
So I am moving forward in my life in a completely new direction. I am moved out on my own and exploring myself again. And through that, took myself out last night and just went to like somewhere and just sat down and went through all, because I get all these blog emails. So I applied for like a bunch of new podcasts that I want to be on so I can continuously share my experience and share my story and hopes to inspire other people. I also have my website thanks to Nathan's parents. So Nathan is deceased. He was brutally murdered in 2016, but that's not how we want to remember him at all. We want to remember him for the shining individual that he was. He is 110% a shining star and will forever be. He always gave the shirt off his back for anybody. And as part of my surviving and coping and healing method, I want to live out Nathan's legacy. If me doing this podcast with you today, I know that if roles were reversed, Nathan would be here doing the podcast with you. Nathan very much cared about other individuals and how he could help them reach their full potential. He cared about people that were going through trauma and always wanted to help. And so that is what my whole life is about. It's about giving back as much as I possibly can. Like I just had a bunch of clothes and I'm going to donate those to the women's shelter because there's so many people out there that are going through struggles, going through hard times. I recently actually just had a meeting with victim services here. And what that meeting entailed was I give all the proceeds from my book. I've been selling a couple more copies here and there of my book. And they're actually buying gift cards to help survivors of, domestic abuse, survivors of trauma that come into the police station that don't have enough funds. So my funds are being used to buy gift cards for these individuals. And that's what it's all about. Like for me to heal, it's all about paying it forward. And I'm still healing myself. I recently went through another trauma experience that is before the court, so I can't get into it. However, I can say that through that experience, it's enabled me to help myself too. I'm back in counseling, full time, going weekly, every other week. And it's been a great experience for me to have this new relationship with myself and find out what my strengths are, what my passions are, and what my goals are. So this time is giving me time to reflect on myself and what it is I need to do to continue on this healing journey.
I love that. And here in a little bit, we're going to get more into some details with a couple of questions that I have for you as far as the legacy, your friend that unfortunately did not survive the horrific event that you all went through. And so I want to say to the listener, if you haven't listened to Ashely's story yet, I will be sharing the link in the show notes. Actually, several links because she's been on a guest multiple times talking about different parts and sections. I'll also share the link to her book, which we'll talk about in a moment. But before we do, is there any funny little petty grievance thing that you are ish surviving right now that just kind of just tweaks at you right now that's not really a big deal, but it's just why is this happening?
Oh yeah, like all the time, like having to redirect my entire life. I've moved into like my own space now. I'm doing things again on my own, and I didn't think that I would get to that point where I'm like rediscovering myself again.
Uh,
But I am, and it's been a learning experience. It's been challenging. I never thought that I'd be back with my 2016 counselor the way that I am. But in order to help others, I really have to put in the work, the effort, the dedication, no matter how hard it may be at times. I have to do that because I can't begin to help other people if I'm so unhealed, right? Like I'm really learning to have a relationship with myself first. I am not getting involved with anybody at the moment. I've been talking to a guy and that I ended because I'm not ready to have a relationship with anybody at this specific moment. I have to really work on a relationship with myself first and foremost. And I think that is the most important relationship you'll ever have is the relationship that you have with yourself. And right now, for me, actually, surviving-ish means going to the gym every day. Like that's where I find the most healing. I've booked another tattoo for the 20th. So between the gym and tattoos is what I really get a high off of right now. That's kind of how I've been healing.
Nice. I love that. I love that. So, okay, before I get into my list of questions, here is what I am surviving ish right now in my life. And that is those 1-star reviews about me and my life, those unsolicited comments or opinions from people over just the smallest little things. Like someone came into my home as a guest, a friend, and immediately they questioned my interior design. And so I'm sitting there thinking, like, my beige couch, I just thought matched the curtains. I didn't realize it was some kind of cry for help. This unsolicited response from someone who I didn't ask their opinion. I let you into my home, which I think my home is lovely. And I don't think they meant harm with it, but I'm just like, why? Like when someone stops you on the street and they're like, I like that sweater, but I'm thinking I like it better with black pants and not blue jeans. Yeah, I now get stuck in my head of do I apologize for wearing the sweater? Like, is it a part of does this reflect my morals? Like, where am I at with this? Like, why is my sweater so offensive to you for you to have to come tap me on the shoulder and say, I like it, but you should have done this? Now, if I send you a text message with a photo and say, hey, I'm wearing this sweater, not sure what to wear it with, that's when you give me the advice.
Yeah, when you're asking for an opinion.
Yeah,
Like, I don't give my opinion to other people unless they actually want it because I'm not about to hurt somebody's pride or their self-esteem or like tear them down. Like, that's not where I'm coming from at all.
I
Like,
know.
I let the little girl that I nanny for, I let her pick out her outfits every day. And if she wants to wear black or purple and yellow together, whatever she wants to wear. It's her life, it's her choices, it's her decisions, it's what makes her happy at the end of the day. If she's happy wearing rainbow colors or whatever, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, it's same. I try to not give unsolicited advice, and I don't think that people always mean harm with it. I know the two
No,
instances that
I
I
agree.
was speaking of, I know they didn't mean harm. Sometimes it's just people's personality and style, right? Like the person that mentioned my couch, they're an interior designer. So of course they see things, and it almost makes me think too, like I could never date a plastic surgeon or probably even be friends with a plastic surgeon because I'm afraid they're gonna look at me and be like, with a little tweak here and a little tuck there, you could be perfect, David. you know.
True.
So that's kind of the ish I'm at right now, and I'm trying to not give unsolicited advice. And I've even thought about this today when I was driving to the studio. I was thinking how I don't know that I do. I feel like if it's almost like I live by that. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Yes, I do. I do too.
And of course, in a modified version of that, right? I mean, of course, sometimes I speak and probably shouldn't, right? Like I'm not trying to say that, but I just don't go to someone and say, "Oh, why did you choose that hair color?" Like I just don't do that. So,
No, because
any
it's
advice?
it's yeah, it's that person. And it's if that person wants to dye their hair pink, yellow, orange, and it makes them happy and they have a smile on their face at the end of the day and they're not hurting anybody else, then it doesn't matter. Let them. Let it be.
Yeah, yeah. I love the let them. That's what I try to remind myself about. I even have the tattoo that says "let them," and I try to remember that what people think of me is none of my business. But I struggle
No.
with that. I try to
I,
remember it,
you
but
know what? I'm at this point right now in my life where I don't care if you like me or don't.
yeah,
I really have gone to a point where either you're going to be in my corner and that's going to be that, or you're not. I know my corner of people, I know my network of people, and I'm happy with that. Anybody else who wants to come into my life, I'll do the best I can, but if it's not reciprocated, I'm not forcing anything anymore. I'm not forcing people into my life anymore. If you want to be here, great. If you don't, there's the door. See you later.
Yeah. Yeah. And you'll never have to see my beige couch again.
Like I love leopard print and like the little boy that I nanny for was like, "Ooh, this is like a leopard house." And I'm like, "Yeah, like it totally is." Like I design my place and design my life the way that I want it. I'm not doing it for everybody else. I'm doing it for myself. Do I love leopard? Absolutely I do. So of course I'm gonna fill the place with what makes me happy. It's my place. I'm paying the rent for it. So yeah, I'm gonna design it and live the life that I want. You know, people are like to me, I don't understand, Ashley, why you get so grumpy when you don't go to the gym. Because that's my structure, that's my routine, that's my habit. That the gym is my addiction. I get my high off of going there.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I want to the listener, Ashley is an author of a book called Finding Strength Through Tragedy. It's a lovely book. She's spoken about it many times, and of course, we're not going to go into the backstory too much. We've shared that quite often, and like I said, I'm going to put the link in the show notes. Ashley, tell us a little bit about this book, and my question for you is when do you recall when you made that conscious decision to take your tragedy and turn it into an inspiration?
Yeah, it was during COVID actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was sitting at home and I actually had a phone call with somebody else, and she was like, Ashley, with all the stuff that you've been through in your life, you should write a book. And I was like, maybe I should. And like the title came to me before anything else did, Finding Strength Through Tragedy, because I knew I wanted it to have the word strength in it, because I'm a full believer that through pain comes strength. I really do believe that because I found so many avenues of strength after this horrific event took place. But this book was like almost like a journal entry for me. It was like, okay, I put thought, feelings, time, effort into this, but I want somebody to read this book and be like, oh my gosh, I went through that. Felt that emotion. I felt that connection at that time. Like, I want it to be a relatable teaching tool to somebody else. And that's kind of what I did when I was writing the book. I talk about the court system in the book. I talk about domestic violence. I talk about where I am now. I talk about manipulation. I talk about mental health, which is a big one, like PTSD, anxiety, and depression. You know, I never thought as myself as somebody with PTSD. I thought that was only that war vets got. That was always my mindset on PTSD. I never knew that when my doctor told me that I had it, I was like, well, I just didn't serve a war. Like, and they're like, no, you went through something horrific. I now actually have discovered by talking to my doctor and my therapist, I have complex PTSD. So I have this thing where if my hours are cut at work or something happens where, you know, I misplace something or, you know, I'm waiting for test results from the doctor, my anxiety is like triggered times a million and I feel it very intensely. And that's what the complex PTSD is. Like I worry about like having enough funds to like buy Christmas presents and stuff like that that goes through my head. And that's complex PTSD where your mind doesn't just like turn off and you don't just like normalize it and have like a normal night. Like your mind just like goes and goes like a hamster wheel and you get so
And
into it where it's all you think about.
yeah, yeah, and that's what I was going to say because I know, like immediately when you said, "Well, you think, well, am I going to be able to afford Christmas gifts?" Immediately, I thought, well, we all think that, but complex PTSD means it's to a different level. Like this actually
Oh, yes.
hinders. This will hinder your life. This will hinder if you
Yeah.
sleep that day.
Yes.
It will hinder if you have plans that day, how you sleep, if you sleep. Like it's a thing. It's almost as if the car just crashed, you know?
Oh yeah. Or if like a stranger approaches me like on a street, like I had some guy last night like call me like babe in his car, and like that my mind goes like a mile an hour. Like, is this guy gonna like follow me home? Is this guy gonna like kidnap me? Like things like that. Like you think of things so intensely in the moment. Like you don't think, oh, they're just fun and games. No, you think, oh my God, is my life at stake again? Like, you have all these thoughts that just run and run through your head. And it's hard to calm it down. Yes, there are ways that you can somewhat calm it down, but there's no medication for PTSD. And I don't really strongly believe in having medication. Like my medication for me is going to the gym and talking to my counselor and doing podcasts and blogs. That's my outlook on medication. But everybody has a different outlook and a different opinion. And at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, a couple of cliff notes to the listener just to refresh their memory if they have heard your story, and to someone who's going to be listening today that hasn't. Ashely was seeing a guy. She got called to a friend's apartment where he was at, and her friend Nathan had already been murdered. Ashely had to help clean up the crime scene. Then she was in the process of becoming the next victim. She was able to escape, and so those are the cliff notes of what happened. And please go listen to the full episode. She goes into full detail, but I just wanted to refresh everyone's memory of what you have been through as we go through these questions. So COVID was such an isolated time. And for some people, they were comfortable with that,
Right.
where
Yeah.
they are. I
Absolutely.
was not that great with it. I needed people. But so that's how I started my podcast was through COVID, because I was like, oh, I gotta talk to somebody, even if it's to my damn self, to see what happens. And 4 or 5 years later, here we are. But I want to ask you, beyond the trauma, beyond the tragedy, itself, right? What is a surprising lesson that you've learned of the process that you learned through your writing?
Through my writing,
Yeah, when you were writing the book.
that I could actually like get it published, that people would actually purchase this book, that this book would actually go to victim services, and the funds from it would go and help other people. Like that's huge for me. Like I didn't think that it would get to that level. I didn't think that it would get to that process. I was like at the time, like I was just writing it and writing it. Like I didn't think that it could potentially go anywhere, because writing a book it's a huge investment, and you got to do it with somebody that you trust, which is important. But no, through writing it, it was really shocking how many people, reached out to me and said, like, I do relate to this. Like, my friends were all like in my corner and cheering me on, and even like detectives had purchased the book, and they were amazing about it, and so supportive. So it was really big for me that I was able to do something that and share my experience with people in hopes that to change their life, to give them that inspiration to know, what, giving up isn't the option. Because like I talk about in all my podcasts, the first thing police ever said to me when I sat down in that interrogation room wasn't what happened. They asked me to make them a promise that I wouldn't turn to the streets for drugs, sex, prostitution, etc. And the fact that that's the first thing that comes out of their mouth versus what happened, what took place, like that just tells you like the epidemic's on the rise for people that experience trauma. Like now, when I see addicts on the street, I think what horrific thing did they go through to get to that point? Because let's face it, nobody just pokes a needle in their arm and says, I'm going to go do it.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to be able to give back to my community and help support other people that are going through such horrific times but don't have that network of support or don't have the extra funds, and knowing that my book is helping them that's what I want at the end of the day. I want somebody to look at me and say, you know what, because of you, I didn't give up. That was my motivation for writing the book. That was my whole purpose and my whole intent.
You and I had a conversation the other day via text when I was asking if you wanted to be part of the show and tell me about the new show. And you had mentioned something that I just thought was so incredible. Most people listening knows my story and they know that there wasn't anyone else involved as far as physically that was endangered by my victim or by my perpetrator. You, on the other hand, there was someone else and they didn't make it. And you are so close to their family and still have a relationship.
Absolutely.
And what I thought was so nice to hear from you, which I wouldn't expect anything less or different, but just where you are in your healing journey now. You mentioned that you would like to spend some time focusing on discussing Nathan's legacy because we spend a lot of time discussing the trauma, the ugly stuff that got us to this point. And the fact that now you're at a place, and you've, and I want to say now, you've always mentioned him, you've always shown a light on him, but there was just a different kind of tone that you had where I just thought this was just so powerful. So I would like for you to take a moment and tell us about Nathan and tell us about the legacy you want us to remember with him.
Yeah, so Nathan actually has a website called the Nathan T Memorial Fund. And what that does is we actually have a little plant operation here in London that grows fruit, that grows vegetables, mainly like lettuce and all that kind of stuff. And what it does is we give those vegetables that are growing and we harvest them, everything like that. And we give them to like the homeless shelters and the homeless people. So that way we're still living out Nathan's legacy through that. It's called Nathan's Urban Farm, actually, and it's on his memorial page website. And it's just this beautiful thing that Nathan would have done himself. He was all about giving back to his community. He was always going to every single event that was like here in London. He'd be there and he'd be like talking to all the guests. Like he was a huge role model to so many people. And he was the kind of person that would give the shirt off his back for anyone. And he was never afraid to help anybody. He always gave back and it was just this amazing, incredible inspiration. Like there's so many people that he just helped because he just listened to them, didn't judge, didn't interrupt them, just sat there and was a good person and listened. And he helped so many people that were going through difficult times in their lives and was there as a friend, as a mentor. He also taught yoga at the yoga shack here. And he was a great yoga instructor and helped so many people that were going through things in their yoga and their personal life and help them by teaching them their yoga class. And he just did so many things and was part of so many different events in the community. He was always like the person you wanted to talk to in the room. You know, he was always the light of the party. He was just a huge inspiration all the way around. You got to a networking event, well, everybody wanted to talk to Nathan. It was, you know, he just lit up a room. He was just so amazing and so sweet and so kind and so down to earth and so humble. Like you could walk up to him and have a conversation with him and it just felt natural. You know, there wasn't this added pressure, this extra stress. You know, you were just yourself around him. And that's what he wanted for people. And we're still keeping his legacy alive by doing Nathan's Urban Farm, and it's been a huge success. And you know what? It's helped feed people at the end of the day. So we're not looking just at, okay, he died from this horrific tragedy, but we want to remember him for the person that he was and everything that he did for the community. That's what we want people to remember him as, not just that he is deceased and gone, no longer with us. We want to still remember him as if he is here.
Yeah, absolutely. When I had you on the true crime podcast I did, I think it was that one. You've been on all of my platforms, but I think it's
I was on a true crime one, yes.
specifically on the true crime one. And we wanted to honor Nathan, because I feel like I've gotten to know him a little bit just through your eyes, and he absolutely seems like someone I would have probably had a crush on. He was adorable and nice and fun.
Yes.
But tell us about the sunglasses, where I feel like I remember pink or green or both.
There was pink and green
Okay.
sunglasses.
Oh,
So
look at
we
my
always
brain.
wore the colorful sunglasses. So Nathan loved to be like different and unique, and he always wanted like bright sunglasses everywhere he went. So these were the pink ones, and they have the Nathan T. Deslett Memorial Fund on them. And they have this was one of his favorite quotes, and a lot of people got it tattooed on them as well, which hopefully someday I will too. It's if you never try, you'll never know. That is also on the sunglasses. So yeah, we gave them out. We had a community event actually to promote Nathan's Urban Farm, and we gave out a bunch of the sunglasses, and we had a bunch of like all the rubber ducks that were like different colors, different spots on them. Some had bow ties. He was really obsessed with bow ties as well. He was just very colorful and bright, and it goes with his personality because that's who he was. A bright, colorful individual all the way around.
One thing that I really appreciate about you is you don't forget about yourself and what you went through, and minimize what you went through, because the outcomes between you and Nathan were different. Because both those outcomes were well, the outcome of Nathan was out of your control. And so the fact that you don't minimize your trauma because the outcomes were different, I think is very powerful. And
Thank you.
I just wanted to say that to you because I know that so many people that I've talked to that has survived and a loved one hasn't, there's survivor remorse. And I'm sure you went through that.
Oh, I did. Oh, I did. I had so much survivor's guilt. I felt guilty for everything. I felt guilty for breathing. It was really intense. It was so bad that I mixed pills and alcohol together because I felt like I just had no way out. And that was really selfish because, I needed to testify. I needed to be there in trial. I needed to show up for Nathan. I needed to stand up. I needed to be his voice now that he wasn't here. So I had to really get myself the help that I needed. I had to be there so that way I could support his family, right? Like that's what it all came down to.
So I mean this respectfully, and this is just my opinion, but I don't think I personally would not use the word selfish. I think that sometimes we get so low that we have to hit rock bottom to know which way is up.
Oh,
And
I definitely did.
absolutely. And sometimes it takes something like that to really hit rock bottom to find that way up. I don't think those acts, whether successful or not, are selfish. And it's a cry. It's a cry for help. It's that person's I'm going through something right now with or a friend of mine that I'm very close to is going through something right now that I'm trying to love her through, but her husband made the choice to take his own life a few weeks ago. She's now a single mother of three children at the age of 5. Unfortunately, I think that where we are with mental health, um, that those decisions when they're made, I don't think that they're doing it for selfish reasons.
There are people who are struggling, but I guess for me, what I'm saying is like I felt really selfish at the time because I had a lot of people relying on me to be there in court and in trial. Like I was the other witness. Like my testimony was going to mean the most to people. And if I wasn't there to do that, then Nathan's not getting the justice he deserves.
Right.
And I needed to start putting Nathan, I guess, above myself. I really needed to step up for him because he wasn't here anymore. He doesn't have a voice. I do. So I needed to be his soundboard.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. with us and Nathan. I feel like I know him through you because I've known you for several years now. He is always um a main character in this.
Oh, he is. Like he will forever have a special place in my heart. I actually took August 28th off the anniversary. I take it off every single year. I go to the cemetery because his parents have moved further away, so they're not able to go to the cemetery like they do when they come to here. However, I went there and I put flowers in there and I went and just like sat with him and I played some songs and yeah. And you know what? Sometimes like if it's a really nice day and I have the time, I'll sit there and I'll just journal.
Yeah,
And it's like it's really like peaceful and it's like really inspiring. It really is. But I go as often as I possibly can. I go for his birthday. I go for, the anniversary and anytime that I can go. I do. He will forever have a part in my life, forever and always. Like I will never forget about him. He'll always forever have a special place in my heart.
absolutely. And ours too. All right. Now is the time for us to set all the hard aside. We're going to end on a fun note. So have the mindset of fun, lighthearted silliness, okay? Because we're gonna laugh and get off here
Perfect.
feeling motivated. So my favorite part of the new show, Surviving Ish, is the Ish Bowl, where I get a question from the Ish Bowl and ask you a rapid fire question and we discuss it. So the question I have for you today, and I'm going to modify it just a little bit because of your gym and the way that you work out and all that. Do you have something that you are irrationally competitive about?
Other than the gym, that's hard.
Well, and the gym could be the answer, like so what is it
The
you do?
gym.
Do you watch someone when you're working out? Do you watch someone you're like, they just did 25 push-ups and I can do 30, and so I'm gonna do 30 real quick just to show them I can,
No,
you
see,
know?
like I'm not like I sit in my own, like I put in my headphones, like I don't even like working out with friends, to be completely honest. Like I don't mind if a friend comes with me to the gym and you go and do your thing, I'll do my thing, but it's me being in my own space.
So then
Like
you're not really
I need
competitive then, are you?
not so much at the gym that I am like competitive. I'll look at other people that have a ton of tattoos on them and I'll be like, ooh, I just want more and more tattoos.
Yeah, right.
So maybe that's it. And then I guess like I'm competitive more so with myself than I am with other people. Like, I have a goal that I want to do so many podcasts. I have a goal of how many tattoos I want to get before 2026. Like I have more competition with myself than I guess with others. Um, I I guess my competition too for myself is running when I go for runs like seeing every time that I can go fast. There was this one run that I went on that I got 40 minutes at first, and then I got to 30 minutes, and then I got to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So I have like those like competitions more so with myself and seeing how I can time things faster. And like at the gym, I guess like for me, increasing my weights is like the competition that I have with myself. Like, I started off squatting 50 and now I'm up to 60 pounds. So like just like it's more competition, like I said, for me versus me and seeing like, oh well, in September I did this and now in January I've done this. Like just seeing that progression, I guess.
Well, that seems pretty healthy. I don't think that mine would be. So good for you. That seems pretty healthy. Like you set goals for yourself, and when you reach that, you change the goal to conquer that one. I think that's really good.
I do like when I first start running season because I don't run in the winter because I scared I'm gonna fall on the ice. I don't know how people run in the winter time. It like I don't even want to be outside in the winter time. Um, but I start back up in like the nicer weather, so I'll start back up in like maybe March if it's like a 10-degree day, I'll go for a run. However, I'll be like, oh, my run isn't as good as like my very last run. So I'm like starting from scratch again and like seeing how I can get the time down and down every single time I go for a run. That's my goal is to get the time down.
Nice. I love that. Well, Ashley, keep us posted with it. I'm sure you'll be back and keep us posted with everything. I'm going to share all the links, even to Nathan
Absolutely.
in the show notes. But just as we're closing out, thank you for being such a big supporter and cheerleader
Oh, for sure.
of mine and the shows. I really appreciate that. And please tell everybody where they can find you and your blogs.
Yes, ashelyinspire.ca. And if you want to check out Nathan's website, it's nathantdeslip.com as well. And then, yes, mine's ashelyinspires.ca. You can also go onto my YouTube and type in Ashely Inspires. You can follow me on TikTok, Ashely Inspire, not Inspires. That's my old account. And then you can also find my group, Finding Strength Through Tragedy, on Facebook. And then my Facebook page, Ashely Inspires.
Absolutely. Well, guys, I
Well,
think we're,
thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for having me on this podcast. Like, it truly means everything to me. And I want to say that I commend you on everything that you're doing. You are a true inspiration, and you're helping so many people by having these conversations. So I am forever grateful and humble to be on this platform with you. Thank you so much.
you're very welcome, and the door is always open to you. And thank you. I needed to hear that today. I think we can all agree that life is sometimes messy, and healing is a journey. And I'm in a place where I've learned to enjoy the ride. And although there are sometimes I feel like I'm barely surviving, and sometimes I feel like I'm kicking it in the ass and doing great. But I'm okay with the fact that sometimes there's just a little surviving ish in life, and
Oh, for sure.
it's not forever.
No, I completely agree. Well, thank you for being you and keep being yourself because you're doing a phenomenal job.